This might just be the scariest horror film of the year so far. Hey guys, welcome back to Craig's Horror Channel, the place where I talk everything horror, old and new. And today I am here to do a movie review for the brand new 2024 horror movie called Oddity. And I've literally only just watched this about half an hour ago, and I am super pumped because this movie was friggin' awesome. It had everything. It really gave me 2018's Hereditary vibes, because that was genuinely the last time I can remember watching a horror movie this intense, because this is a very intense movie. It's very, very cleverly put together, and I'm telling you guys, this film is going to go down as a horror classic. So what is this film about? Well, I'm going to try and explain this part quite briefly, because I really don't want to give any major spoilers out, because I really think that you guys need to experience this movie without, any major spoilers. So I'm going to try and keep spoilers to a very bare minimum. Now, at the start of the movie, we are introduced to this incredible house that is almost like a castle. It's absolutely friggin' beautiful. Now, a couple called Danny and her husband Ted, they have just moved in and they are currently renovating. Now, Ted, he works at an asylum. In fact, I think he runs the place and he works quite a lot. So his wife Danny is doing most of the renovating work. Now, Danny, she is put into an awful predicament right at the start of the movie. During the night, she goes out to her car to grab something, and she then goes back into the house. She closes the door, and then she hears something at the door. Now, she goes back over to the door and opens up the hatch, and there is this creepy guy on the outside of the door, and his name is Olin Boole, and he only has one eyeball because the other eye is a glass eye, and that alone just adds to the whole creepiness of this scene. Now, Olin Boole is a patient from Ted's asylum, and it's not known at this stage of the movie whether if Olin has escaped from there or not, but Olin tells Danny that he watched her go to her car, and while she was at her car, somebody ran into her house because she left the door open. Now, here is the predicament. Does Danny listen to this creepy man who is behaving very oddly at the front door, and is she about to let him in to check the house out, or does she ignore this man, close the hatch and get on about her business in the hopes that there's nobody in the house? Now, bear in mind, there is no phone line at this house, and the only mobile phone signal in the house is upstairs at the very far corner. So Danny, she can't ring anyone. She can't ring the police. The guy at the door doesn't have a phone on him. She is literally snookered. What does she do? Well, Danny really wrestles with the whole thing, but before we get a chance to see what she decides, the opening titles pop up and we fast forward nearly a year later. This is where we learn that Danny was indeed murdered that night, but was it Olin, the creepy guy at the door, or was it somebody in the house as Olin had stated? Well, Olin is the one who ends up getting the blame, and he's put back into Ted's asylum. Now, don't forget, Ted is Danny's husband. But was there something else happening at that house? Well, we are also introduced to Danny's twin sister, Darcy, who is a blind lady. She runs a shop, and every item in the shop she has put a curse on, so nobody will even think of stealing from her because she's blind. She only lifts the curse once the customer has paid for their item. Anyone who has stolen from her shop soon comes running back with, to return the item. So, twin sister Darcy, as you've probably guessed by now, she has a powerful psychic gift, and she can basically hold any item in her hand, and she will be able to see what attachment is in this item from any person that has touched it in her mind. So when Olin dies in the asylum, deceased Danny's widow Ted, who works at the asylum, brings Darcy a little gift. It's Olin's glass eyeball that Darcy has been wanting ever since the night of her sister's murder. Darcy wants to hold the glass eyeball into her hand so she can see what happened the night her twin sister was murdered, and what she sees, oh dear, is shocking. Without giving away any more of this plot, Darcy basically ends up going to Ted's house. Yes, Ted is still living in that massive house that his wife was murdered in, with his new bit on the side, by the way. And Darcy brings along one of her cursed life-sized wooden statues from the shop. This is a very scary looking statue that is literally the stuff of nightmares. Honestly, things get friggin' crazy from here on in, and extremely intense. Oh, everything about this movie is just perfect. I was not expecting to be blown away by this. I mean, from the moment the movie begins, I was hooked. My eyeballs were on the screen. I just couldn't take my eyes off the screen all the way to the end of the movie. Now, when that wooden statue is brought into the movie, you can't help but stare at it, especially when you see it sitting in the chair behind one of the characters talking, behind them in the distance. You just cannot help but stare at it. The whole movie is so unpredictable from start to finish. You have no idea where it's going from one scene to the next. You think you know, but it goes in the other direction. The film is full of twists and turns. Now, Carolyn Bracken, who plays both of the twin sisters in the movie, is absolutely mesmerizing when she's on the screen, especially playing Darcy. There are moments that genuinely shocked me. I mean, the intense moments gets ramped up to about 1,000 in this film. Now, remember when I reviewed Hereditary and I said that the final 10 to 15 minutes of that film is just unbearable? Well, this movie is exactly the same, and not just the last 10 to 15 minutes. Every so often, now and again, a horror film comes around and it just really knocks it out of the park. It really does. Also, I did forget to say that this film was made in Ireland, and I honestly think the location of this beautiful house/castle set in Ireland really adds to the spooky tone as someone who lives in the United Kingdom. Now, honestly, I really don't want to ruin any more of this movie for you. I think I've given you enough of a teaser for you guys to go and watch it. All I will say is you really need to see it immediately, and then when you've watched it, make sure you come back here and let me know what you thought about this movie in the comments box below. Now it's time for the rating. I am going to rate this movie a massive, wait for it, 10 out of 10. Yes, this is a 10 out of 10 movie for me. I cannot wait to get this on Blu-ray. I'm definitely going to be rewatching this one over and over again. This will be a fantastic film to watch on Halloween. Oh, literally just incredible. But that's all of me on the movie. Now let's hear some of yous on the movie. Have you guys seen this film? Have you watched Oddity? Then let me know what you thought of it in the comments box below. And on that note, I am going to wrap up this video. Thank you all for watching today. Make sure you do smash that subscribe button. Stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye guys.